Today's special guest is pedal steel guitarist Marty Rifkin, who has played and recorded with Tom Petty, Bruce Springsteen, and honored to say my band, the Nikhil Korula Band, as well. Marty's also one of my favorite people on the planet. There's a magic in every studio that is the unspoken member of any session. Every studio has its charm and history, and that adds to that magic, and there's no greater feeling than being surrounded by eclectic gear that can unlock the infinite. Here we are at the Sonic Boom Room in Venice, California, for a special acoustic episode of Sight and Sound that gave me goosebumps from the moment we walked in. And away we go. What do you get when you take two of your bands in different combinations and add a special guest to the mix? You get a live recorded music series that's been a dream of mine for years in the making. I've been a touring artist for over 2 decades, so whether I'm in a studio or out performing at clubs and festivals, music always is the magic that brings me home. My name is Nikhil Korula, and this is Sight and Sound.
Won't you come and play? It's a good day. Won't you come and play? 'Cause the music won't stop when your heart just wants you to play. 'Cause the music won't stop when your heart just wants you to play. On this journey, several paths lay before me, and I don't know which to take, which one to forsake, which one of these will leave me alone. Please take me home. So I choose a direction. Only time can stop me now. There's no more looking back, nothing to distract. I keep my feet intact, but will this be enough to find my way home? I can't believe in. Home is where my darkness falls. Home is how I can be needed to love. Yeah, yeah, for the unforgiven. Can we stop this clouded sky? 'Cause we all have touched the rain, felt the kiss of pain, loved with much refrain. Are we even close to coming home, coming home? I can't believe in. Home is where my darkness falls. Home is how I can be needed to love. Home is home. Home is home. Home is home. Home is home. My home, coming home. If I could live forever, would you be there by my side? If I could be a dreamer, would you be the star in my sky? We could be together, would you hold me when I cry? If I could make the world sing, would you help my spirit fly oh so high? When the days of sorrow come into my life, will you go tomorrow and leave me in my strife? I guess some things in life are better left unsaid now. There's room for doubts and fears and questions in my head now. Your love is like a drink that never gets me drunk, so I wish you could decide if I could be the true key to your heart. Can I be yours? If I could be an ocean, would you be my only tide? If I could be a forest, yeah, would you be my rain tonight? If I could be a tunnel, yeah, would you be that shadow light? If I could be an angel, would you be my wings for flight? When the days of sorrow come into my life, will you go tomorrow and leave me in my strife? Oh, I say, I guess some things in life are better left unsaid now. There's room for doubts and fears and questions in my head now. Your love is like a dream that never gets me drunk, so I wish you could decide if I could be the true key to your. I guess some things in life are better left unsaid now. There's room for doubts and fears and questions in my head now. Your love, 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 your love is like a drink that never gets me drunk, so I wish you could decide if I could be the true key to your heart. The true key to your heart. The true key to your heart. You belong among the wildflowers. You belong in a boat out at sea. Send away, kill off the hours. You belong somewhere you feel free. Run away, find you your heart be your guide. You deserve the deepest of cover. You belong in a home by and by. You belong among the wildflowers. You belong somewhere close to me, far away from your troubles and your worry. You belong somewhere you feel free. You belong somewhere you feel free.
Hello, welcome to Sight and Sound Episode 2. Our special guest today is one of my favorite people and favorite musicians on the planet, Mr. Marty Rifkin. How are you, Marty?
Hi, Nikki. How are you?
It's so great to make music with you. It is always a pleasure. You played on my record, Music of the New Day in 2012. You played on Revolutions in 2021. But let's talk. You played on some pretty iconic records. You played on Tom Petty, Wildflowers. We covered Wildflowers in honor of Mr. Tom Petty. You've also played with Bruce Springsteen quite a bit. Mm-hmm. Just let's name drop, because you're just a superstar to me. And I want you to just say a couple of records that you play that you are featured on.
Well, we just had the 25th anniversary of Jules' album, Spirit. So
That's
I played
awesome.
on that. Did a bunch of Glen Campbell albums, his last few. Boy, there's a whole kind of Rolodex. It's hard to...
You're like, I can't keep up with myself.
You do it, and then you move on to the next thing. But somewhere in there, I'm sure I have it all cataloged.
Well, you can find a lot of records that Marty's played on. And, when I first heard Wildflowers, it kind of blew my mind that you were on that record, because it's such an incredible record to me. And when I hear and you're playing, it totally makes sense. Of course you're on that record, because you're like a wizard with this instrument, the pedal steel guitar, as well as just all of your musicianship. I wanted to ask you, what keeps you driven or inspired when you're playing music?
That's a good question. I think it's just what I do. I mean, it's all I've been programmed. Fortunately, most of my adult life has just been music or music related. So I think it's just momentum. And as far as playing instruments, the more you know, the more you realize you don't know.
Yes.
And so you just keep working at it, and that's what I always did. So I'm always inspired, because there's a way of, well, first of all, I love everybody else's talents. Playing with you today was kind of completely awesome.
Well, you made it awesome. For me, it's just songs that I play in my bedroom.
So I think it's like if you're in the middle of a choir or an orchestra and you get to hear everything, surrounding you in the middle of that. That's kind of what we get every day.
Right.
Where it's like, wow, this is what we started doing in garages when we were kids.
Well, what's so wild, too, it's like, the first time I heard you play, you said the funniest thing to me when we finished your session. You said, and I brought it up earlier, you said, when you're done with the puppy dog version of listening to this, then tell me which takes you love. But every take you did was so great. So that question was for me, because you're just such a seasoned veteran in the music business, and you played on all these amazing records. But the one thing that strikes me, and the reason I ask, is because whenever you play and sit down to play something, it always means something. Like, you have very specific amounts of intent when you play. So, like, who were your biggest influences as far as players and people that inspired you to pick up the instrument?
Well, it's kind of interesting. Well, thank you for that. I feel like if you're going to do something, do it all the way.
Right.
And something comes over, we can be clowning, but then, the song gets counted off, and you just have to go to that place. You can't really think about too many things, fundamentals, this or that. You have to play, and so you use all that. But my inspirations, I grew up as a bass player. Actually.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's why I moved to L.A. and all. And so there were just so many great bass players in the 70s that, you know.
You're like, I better figure something out. I better pivot.
Well, it was kind of funny because when I came here, playing bass, I would go to sit in with a band. It was kind of always a drag because the bass player has to sit down.
Right.
And so you go up, you play 2 songs. I felt bad that they couldn't be on stage, and I always loved steel. So I thought, you know, let me see if there's even something there that I could do. Right. And I got one, and in rather quick time, I got a gig because I understand it's a really complex instrument.
Super complex.
And but I understood it. Doesn't mean I sounded good on it, but because I understood it, I wasn't afraid of it. And so then I kind of did that pivot. So,
well, it's an extension of your personality and your kindness, just the way you kind of like radiate when you play. I mean, I've never heard you play a wrong note, which is crazy. And I've done a couple sessions with you years apart. I'm like, man, I just have to know what keeps this guy just hitting all the right notes all the time. So it's important.
Fear? No.
Yeah. Right.
No, I mean, there's plenty. That's where, like, working behind the scenes, you try to, you know, make sure that happens. But I'm not afraid of bad notes. If there's a way, you know, if it means that you're not going to dive in and play dangerously,
right,
you know, as it is. So, I mean, they come with the territory, and, you know.
Well, and you've also played, you know, you played with 2 of my favorite songwriters, Tom Petty and Bruce Springsteen. Mm-hmm. I wanted to ask, you've you know, gone to their house to record, or you've been in intimate recording spaces to just work with them. What would you say, and I want to ask, you know, objectively and separately, what were the coolest or most incredible things that you either experienced or learned from each of those songwriters?
It's interesting because they're both, and I think why they rose to where they are, it's just purely the moment of who they are, as opposed to needing to sterilize things musically.
Right.
You know, that's the moment. And Tom, I've worked a little bit. Bruce, I've worked a lot, and it's who he is. You know, when you're playing the song. Kind of how we did it today where we played. Right. And it wasn't like, okay, now we're going to go back and clean this and do this and do that and do this. And so what I learned was when other people get really concerned about their performances, that if it's truthful but not necessarily exactly perfect.
Right.
But that's why those guys rose to the top, because people could see it was 3 minutes, 4 minutes of who they are.
Honesty, yeah.
on record. And that was a light that went on for me, you know, to kind of relax a little bit, and it doesn't have to be, you know, perfect.
Well, you said something to me in our first session 11 years ago, and we were talking about takes, and we were doing the record on analog tape, and you said something so cool that I learned from. You said, you know, whenever I'm producing somebody or working with somebody, you know, whether it's, you know, a record I'm playing on, I'll say, you know, let's do another one because we love to do this. And
right.
it just, a light went on inside of every part of my being. I'm like, this guy loves music in the same way that I do. And you don't hear that because, you know, musicians are always hustling and trying to like get to the next session or next gig. But it's like, you know, it's something so simple and basic, but we forget that. So
right. How
do you get back to that place every time you're doing a gig or, you know, you're on a recording session? How do you tap into that?
It's just, I'm used to it. Just like when you said today, I think there was one song we did, I don't know how many takes, but a lot. It's like, well, you want to do another one? Well, yeah, that's why we're here.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, I've experienced when people might say, why, what was wrong with that last one? You know, I don't need, you know, it's just, or even if somebody's afraid that they're not going to beat it, nowadays you never have to lose the good one.
Right.
So it's like, hey, you know, you might discover something different. It's kind of like a freebie. You know? So I've always been like that. If we're going to do it again, no reason griping about it and not wanting to, because, you know, you still have to go through the song.
Right.
So.
Well, what's so cool too is like when I watch you doing like certain phrases, you actually like kind of conduct yourself, and it's such a cool thing because you can see the spirit kind of moving in you when it comes out of your playing, but you're kind of also like mentally kind of preparing what's going to happen next, which is such a cool part of like watching you do what you do.
Oh, well, thank you. And a lot of what I do, once again, with this instrument, you have knee levers, you have pedals.
Right.
And so a lot of times I find that if I'm conducting myself, it's not just straight conducting. I'm actually doing a move with my foot.
That's crazy.
Like if I ever do this, it means my pedal is going in,
Oh,
and it kind of makes
interesting.
it so that my foot just doesn't go on its own. And so
Right.
it's a
So
thing
it's like
that
a mental
I
cue
can't
a
even-
little bit.
Kind of, and I try not to think about it, or I would stop myself from doing it because sometimes, you know,
You're giving yourself too many signs, too many directions.
yeah, too many things, you know, or I might do this with this hand, you know, because it's sustaining. So I might take this hand and move it, but it's kind of telling that hand what speed to do
Right.
it. And yeah, it was, I guess, an affectation that kind of happened. And one day I happened to notice it in the playback of a video or something. I'm like, ooh,
That's
well,
amazing.
what's that? But don't stop it because, you know, everything's working right now.
Who's a musician or a guitar player that really made you want to pursue music?
Well, once again, I was a bass player. And there were people, and it's great because I get to work with them a bunch too, is people like Leland Sklar is, you know.
It's one of the legends.
One of the legends, and back when I first was playing, I just loved that sound. That's kind of
Right.
why I gravitated to, you know, this kind of music that I play, which is more like if it's Petty or Bruce, especially in their organic acoustic-y kind of thing. Because I was, you know, into James Taylor and Jack
Yeah.
Brown and everybody, and so I learned from a lot of different bass players, but a guy like Lee was one who I just, you know, it was very you know, he's very musical when he plays.
Well, you're an open soul, and one thing, you know, you don't know, when you first heard Music of the New Day, you sent me a really kind email about the record and the arrangements and the vocals and the songwriting, and you're just like a very incredible musician and person to me, and I'm so lucky and honored to have you on the second episode of Sight and Sound.
Me too.
And I look forward to making a lot more music with you, but
Let's do it.
here's the beginning of our video series. Marty Rifkin, everybody.
Thank you, Nikki.
So here I am, waiting for each other. You make the first move and I'll follow. It's the common plea. And here I stand, sifting through this madness. When there's simplicity, why's it got to be misery? Yeah. Wise men say all we need each other, but still we stay the same, the same. What's left of me is yearning to discover a world that sees you and me and all that's free in harmony. Yeah. Wise men say all we need is each other, still we stay the same, the same. And she can make me fly if she decides to try. Some years ago, the song remained unspoken. Once your trust is broken, what's the point of faith in anyone? So there you are the answers, yeah. Shake from me, lift from me the burden we disagree and ignore. Wise men say all beneath each other. Still we stay the same, yeah, 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 the same, yeah, the same, yeah. There's a difference. You're the difference. I'm the difference. Together we're the difference. Yeah. 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 We're the difference. Come on, babe. Just a castaway, a night and lost at sea. Oh, not a lonely day with no one here but me. Oh, more loneliness than any man could bear. Rescue me before I fall into despair. I'll send an SOS to the world. I'll send an SOS to the world. I hope that someone gets my eye. I hope that someone gets my eye. I hope that someone gets my message in a bird. So yeah, message in a bird. So yeah, message in a battle, yeah. Message in a battle, yeah. Sundo da da do, so da da do, sundo da da do. Passed since I wrote my notes, but I should have known this right from the start. Only hope can keep me together. Love can mend your life, but love can break your heart. I'll send an SOS to the world. I'll send an SOS to the world. I hope that someone gets my eye. I hope that someone gets my eye. I hope that someone gets my message in a bottle, yeah. Message in a bottle, yeah. Message in a battle, yeah. Message in a battle, yeah. this morning, don't believe what I saw. 100 billion bottles washed upon the shore. Since I'm not alone, I've been low. 100 billion castaways looking for a home. I'll send an SOS to the world. I'll send an SOS to the world. I hope that someone gets my eye. I hope that someone gets my eye. I hope that someone gets my message in a bottle, yeah. 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 So da da do, so da da do, so da da do. Sending out an SOS, sending out an SOS, sending out an SOS, sending out an SOS.
Subscribe right here on this button below. Let's keep this train rolling.